Hello, Aries. Welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today we're going to look at April for Aries. You can use this for Sun, Moon, Rising, and North Node, primarily, or any placement that draws you. It works. So, Celtic Cross spread, general reading, take what resonates, leave what does not. My emphasis is soul development, but I read whatever comes. Plus a catalyst energy. I'm using Albano weight for the Celtic Cross. I'm using Threads of Fate for your catalyst energy, and we will get started. So the Threads of Fate Catalyst Oracle is going to serve as the thread that kind of weaves all these energies together throughout the reading. So if you get lost in process during the month or you spiral, you can come back to the catalyst energy to kind of bring you back into alignment. It kind of keeps you into the highest vibration possible, okay? So the void reversed. Are you afraid of the void, and why? Yeah, there's a nothingness. There's a quality of nothing, of being aware, of being in awareness, but nothing is happening around you. It's being fully present, being completely mindful, examining the breath. I mean, if I were to, take this into how do we practice the void in our daily life, it's just being present. It's just breathing and sitting and being aware that you're aware. But, it's that pocket of silence, of inactivity. I think by nature, Aries is a little bit leery of that because you're an action-oriented sign. You're the infant. You're coming out of the womb. You just left the void. The last thing you want to do is go back into it, probably. On that archetypal frequency level. And so being in the void, that's a big lesson for you, Aries. It's coming out in the reverse because you're afraid of it. And so I feel like maybe this month there's going to be a lot of things not happening for you, like just kind of a lull, and a sense of maybe not knowing where to go next, because you're basically in transition. You're in the in-between state, and so it's not like you're not supposed to be here, you are, but I think there's this probably compulsive need to have movement and to have things coming in and to have action steps to take, and the universe is kind of saying, no, you're not going to get to have that this month. It's like you've been stopped in your tracks, and we have the Hangman too, so yeah. It's like you've been stopped in your tracks, and I know that you've had a lot of momentum in the last few months, since I think October, November, right? There's been a lot of activity going on for you, so suddenly it's just boom. Nothing. So you're in the void, and the lesson is to make peace with that. How can you befriend the void? How can you be comfortable being here? And I think that's going to lessen your stay in it, because the second you learn the lesson, you're just going to move on. So, yeah, being in the void is needed at this time, and it's a great opportunity for you to face that fear. As a South Node Aries, I feel personally attacked right now. Okay. Moving into the Celtic Cross spread. At the center, we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Yeah, it's almost like the universe is playing freeze tag with you. Everything just froze. And so it's not like the Wheel of Fortune is turning in or out of your favor. It's like the Wheel of Fortune froze. You're not going anywhere. And you're not stuck. You're not stagnant. This is universal universe intervention, divine intervention. So yeah, the wheel is frozen for you. It's not going anywhere. And that's all I'm getting. So let's see what else comes in. Crossing that energy, we have the Queen of Wands. A need to get back in touch with the divine feminine, which is also the void. This is a feminine energy. Okay. I love the little black cat. Black Panther's my power animal, so I always love seeing that. Yeah, getting back in touch with the divine feminine and the creative power in the divine feminine, because there is a bit of a disconnect, I think, in spiritual collective culture, especially in America, where it's like the masculine is seen as the divine force. Wand energy is fire, it's masculine. but it's seen as this, like, the masculine is seen as this procreative force, and the feminine is just like, and it's just so not true. Like, it's just so not true. Like, making a baby is procreative and it's yin energy. Birthing a baby is procreative and it's yang energy, right? So you are equal parts yin and yang. You're being asked to step into the yin this month, and that doesn't mean that that's not force or procreative, in any way, shape, or form. And the thing about the Queen of Wands is that she does have this forward thrusting motion, that she is both masculine and feminine. She carries her femininity. And by the way, it doesn't matter what gender you are for this to be true for this month. The divine feminine and masculine are in all, right? So the Queen of Wands, her specific makeup is, mostly feminine, but the masculine is in the feminine. Female presentation or feminine presentation. And but a procreative masculine force that creates her ability to be independent, to be directional, to be a leader, to be regal, to take action, to make stuff happen, to be inspired, to be a visionary. And she still has that receptive quality of the queen, right? She still pays attention to the signs from the universe. She listens. She cultivates energy before she releases. And so there's an aspect of not even duality, but flow of the oneness, the interchange of yin yang that is just always on rotation. So and is itself. It is one thing, and yet this fluid expression that changes. And so the Queen of Wands is all about that. It's important to consider that, because being in the void is a time to cultivate energy. It's a time to reflect. And it's a time to kind of rest on your laurels before things start moving forward again. And so I think the important thing here is recognizing that you can still be dynamic within that framework. Like, you can be in the void and still be a dynamic energy and make things happen. Like, it's a great time to just be creative. So if you're an artist, a writer, anything like that, it's a great time to do that and to kind of make that your procreative force. What can you do that feels action-oriented within the framework of your current void, right? And I think part of why the wheel is frozen is because the universe is like, figure out what you really want, right? And this is what I teach my clients all the time as a manifestation coach, because you can manifest anything you want all the time, right? Like, we're constantly manifesting it. Every word we speak is a manifestation in and of itself. There's power in it. There's power in the frequency that you carry, because that's creating a magnetic attraction, right? Everything in your world is you pushed out. And so what happens when you do development work or transformational work of any kind, of any caliber, whether you just have a therapist and you're transmuting emotion, or you're on a spirit path, or you just want, like, a job well done, like, that's your growth point, like, it's just career or whatever it is for you, this applies. And with manifestation, and what I mean by that is just creating the world around you and living your life the way that you want to live it, in a practical sense. That's what I mean. With manifestation, because most people are operating on trauma stories, by most I mean like 99.99% of us to some degree, acting out of trauma stories, acting out of fear, acting out of ego desire. And there's nothing wrong with desire. This is more about this is more about being genuinely grounded and aligned and healthy and well. We end up manifesting what we're trying to avoid. And so because we're trying to escape, like, we're manifesting from a place of escape. So I always tell people, like, if you want to manifest $1 million, there's nothing wrong with wanting to manifest $1 million. If you want $1 million, fine. Great. I understand why you would want that. And why is that the thing you're trying to manifest? Because are you trying to manifest $1 million because that's going to, add to your already well-adjusted life? Or do you want to manifest $1 million because there's a scarcity story, there's afraid of not having enough, there's afraid of death, there's a fear of death, there's a fear of, lack of status maybe, which kind of just means exile or abandonment or feeling unloved. There's all of these ways that we can try to manifest what we think we want, because we're just trying to escape what we don't want. And I think that's why the universe is playing freeze tag with you, okay? It's just freezing the wheel because you may not have been aligned. And I don't, usually just outright say things like that, but that's what's coming through, so I'm gonna say it. Usually the wheel freezes because it needs to protect us. Like the universe doesn't want us to bring a bunch of bullshit on us, so it goes freeze, So, with that said, what do you want? And what things are you trying to get due to escape? And what things do you want to get out of creation? Just the desire to create, to be a creator, to manifest, to be in flow, to unionize with all of life, right? So this is the opportunity with the Queen of Wands, is what do you really want to create for yourself? And can you separate the things that you want out of escape and the things that you just want because it's true to you, because it's true to your soul, right? And so, and making the distinction can be hard. Cultivating discernment requires a lot of time and a lot of mistakes, okay? So this is not about being perfect. This is about being aware that multiple things could be going on, right? There is going to be the qualities of you that are creators and aligned with their soul's purpose and trying to manifest those things. And then there's going to be parts of you, because we're human, we all have it. There's going to be parts of you that think they want something because they're actually trying to escape something else. And that's what you're trying to make the distinction between, is what do I really want and what am I simply afraid of? Okay, so that's the task here. And then getting into a creative space, transmuting that. Past affecting the present, the moon. This is deep, deep work. This goes far, far back. This is childhood. This could be ancestral even. This could be as early as the womb. And this is about trauma. So what's the wounding? What's the really deep core wounding that goes back and back and back in time? Can you pull yourself really far back and see what was created, in utero, or just around the circumstances of your birth before you even got here, or when you were really little? What's the wounding? Because that is the hidden wound that you are currently operating from, which froze the wheel, right? So that's the task here, and that's what's affecting your present. With the moon quality of this, it just makes me feel like, because this is what's hidden, it makes me feel like you're just not fully aware of it. You're becoming aware, and this is the month to become aware. That's why you're in the void. That's why the wheel is frozen, but you're not fully aware of it, and so it's just not clear yet. This is the month to get clarity, and it's going to take time. It's going to take all month, maybe, I mean, it's going to wrap up by the end because we have the Hermit at the end here. We have some good cards coming up, so there's movement, but it is important to look back and see what's the core wound and what am I using as a form of escape instead of creation in my current time life, okay? Your foundation this month, if you can hear that in the background, that's just my rabbit. I'm sorry, I can't stop that. Your foundation this month, we have the Hangman reversed. This is getting a new perspective. And so I recommend maybe getting a new perspective from somebody else in your life that is very, very grounded and aligned, like an earth sign maybe is what I'm getting, is ask an earth sign for clarity, or just somebody else that you trust, a teacher, a therapist, a diviner, anything along those lines, somebody that has a lot of clarity and discernment, because I think they can help you flip the perspective in a way that's going to create movement rather than stuckness or stagnation, right? And the only reason I'm asking you to rely on others is because it's coming through. But generally, when I read the Hangman reverse, it's just like, it's time to take a new perspective. It's time to kind of flip everything on its head and see where that leaves you. Because we're all smoke and mirrors. Sometimes we just need to invert it, and then we see clear what was upside down before. So that's all. Crowning you this month. We have the Two of Cups and the King of Cups reversed. Let's start with the Two of Cups. Okay, this is you reconnecting with your innermost self, with your own energy. This isn't about somebody else, and sometimes it is, but you're in the void right now. The wheel is frozen. This is you. This is your show. This is an internal month. The Two of Cups is you kind of extending that cup, that offering of compassion, of nurturance, of being held to a part of you that is wounded. So we're pulling back to the moon, right? What can you give that child? What can you give that child right now, today, in your own power? And it's probably just going to be compassion and love and acceptance. usually is. What can you give that child to heal them and integrate them with you so that they can help you achieve what you really want instead of achieving false trails in order to escape? Okay, so that's the task here. It's paired with the King of Cups reversed, and so this is emotional mastery. And in the reverse, it's an invitation to start to cultivate it, and a reminder that it's an inward journey. Emotional mastery starts with accepting everything that comes up and seeing it for what it is, which means being in your body, being in your heart space, and getting out of your mind. Okay, so any embodiment type work is also good. I think that's why the earth sign thing came up. Make sure you're in your body. This new perspective that you get is going to come from really being rooted into the ground and feeling yourself. So this is a good month for any kind of embodiment work, like yoga, tai chi, dance, whatever. And of course, I can never recommend that enough. But this is a really key month for that, because that is where the perspective is going to start to turn, because your discernment is going to come online more clearly. Embodiment is very connected to emotional work. Because there's emotional frequencies everywhere, and there's emotional frequencies in the mind, there's emotional frequencies in the ether if you are a space cadet, right? And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I guess what I just mean is, for those of you that do a lot of astral travel type work or whatever, it can be really easy to just be in fantasy because everything exists on that plane, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's productive. So being in the ground, being connected to the earth, and being in your entire body, not just your head and above you, not just your head and psyche and spirit, is actually where the emotional resolution comes out of, because that's what's real for you in the moment. You're in this body, in this time, you're right here, right? You're right here, right now. And this is the body that you chose to inhabit, and so it's a part of you, and it needs your care. And we actually experience emotion in the body. It's not like the mind interprets emotion and creates story out of it, which can derail a lot of things and be very counterproductive. And the journey back into clarity and into actual emotional healing and truth is being in the body, because that's where it all moves, and that's where the real emotion is. Everything is out there, but only you are in here, right? And in here is where the actual change happens, because we're in the physical material world, manifesting tangible things in a physical material life. And that doesn't take away the spiritual aspect, which of course you're in right now in the void. But it does create an imbalance when both aren't being honored. And so, are you honoring your body? Because the message that I'm getting is that the body's not really online. And that's what's needed to make the switch happen for you, to unfreeze the wheel, so to speak. New circumstance, Knight of Cups paired with the Five of Pentacles. Knight of Cups could be an offering of some sort, could be this earth sign person, could be a water sign person, could be an offering of love. Tread very carefully with that, because the Two of Cups, the message was loud and clear. It was like, get right with you before bringing somebody else into the equation. So this feels like almost like a test. And I don't usually say that, but I've been tested by spirit a lot the past month, to the point to where it's now incorporated in my philosophy, is that spirit does test us. because I've been tested in ways that I didn't think spirit was doing to me. And what ended up happening was I would pass the test and they'd say, hooray, you passed. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was a test, right? So we are being tested all the time, and we're allowed to fail. We just try again. But this seems like a test. This seems like an offering that you're supposed to turn down. And maybe I shouldn't even, well, no. Obviously, I was allowed to tell you that, or it wouldn't have come in the first place. But yeah, this is a test. This is a test. Can you turn this offering down, because it's going to look really, really good, and it's going to make you want that thing that you're using to escape. And so this Two of Cups is saying, no. Get right with you, honey. Get right with your heart. Fall in love with yourself. Don't take this offer, because it does seem like an offer of love. But if not, if you're single and not looking, or you have a partner, This could be another kind of offering a friendship, offering of money, maybe a career offering, a job offering, and it's like not the one for you. So even though it's going to look really good, so just read the fine print. I'm not saying you can't take an offer, and there could be multiple offers, and maybe many of them are fine. So you're going to have to just be aware. What is this? What is the real signal that's being sent? What's the underlying essence or energy underneath this offering? Because it really does feel like a false trail, and it feels like the universe is trying to see if you're going to do the same thing again. So just watch out for that. It's paired with the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, so I mean, this is about self-worth, feeling like you're not enough. And because you're Aries, I have to say this. If you feel like you are amazing, that you're perfect, that you're above reproach, that you have all the power in the world, and that you're fully enlightened, and that everything is perfect and right with the world, I would push back on that because we can overcompensate. If our self-worth is really, really low, and I'm getting a pull to the moon again, if we feel fundamentally undeserving of love, and then we bury that feeling, it turns into arrogance. It turns into busy work sometimes with Aries. It turns into alienating other people to push them away preemptively. And so there can be this like, I'm great, I'm awesome, everybody else is beneath me, they're not worth it, and that's really just a protective mechanism. So look out for all of those stories as well. Another potential situation of this is actually a really nice offer that you turn down because you're the story you're telling yourself is, oh, I'm too good for them. And that's just coming out of a wounded place too. And so be mindful of the extremes either way, because I'm being told that there's a serious self-worth issue that is surfacing that needs to be addressed. And some of you may feel small, but mostly I'm getting overcompensation, like making yourself too big, almost scary to people or intimidating, so that they leave you alone. And then you can continue with the fantasy, right, of just being too good for everyone. And so do you feel lonely? Do you feel isolated? And if so, how can you find that genuine connection? Are there people in your life that you can go to? Or is there, a serious issue here where you're going to need to talk to someone, ask for help, or figure out how to pull yourself out of an isolation state? Because, being in the void can feel isolating if you can't keep your own company well. And that worries me. And I'm not trying to like freak you out, but if that's the situation, it just worries me because you can't do anything in a vacuum. Especially if no one's in your corner, so, I know you're in the void. I know it's going to be an internal month, but are you in an echo chamber? And is that echo chamber just magnifying the problems that you're telling yourself you have? Or is it magnifying the overcompensation that you're telling yourself to avoid the real pain? Like all of these things could kind of be happening. And if that's the case, like if you're really isolated and really alone, I highly recommend reaching out, finding a therapist, finding a spiritual worker, a good one, a shamanic healer, is always my recommendation, because shamanic healing is grounded. It works. It's the most practical form of spiritual healing. It just works. Permanently. Whereas if you get a Reiki, you feel great for, a week or so, 2 weeks maybe, and then eventually all your old energy habits come back, and you just have to get another one, and now you're just spending money because you like the way that Reiki feels, but your energy habits don't support the permanent change. Shamanic healing creates permanent change. It rearranges your energy systemically. So I would recommend that. I would recommend therapy too. So either shamanic healing or therapy, or both. If you really, really feel lost, isolated, stuck, alone, or confused, if you feel listless, if you feel lost, I just feel like if you need a guide, find one. There's guiding lights all around us, but don't do it in an echo chamber. Like, yes, spirit is here for you, but you are a human. Find some humanity. Find a human that can really, really be there for you. Okay, and that's tough. if you feel like you can't trust people, and I understand that. So I think facing your fear, that comes with the moon too. Facing your fear is important. Yeah, because this is about not feeling worthy or not feeling deserving. And that's not true, of course. You are worthy, you are deserving. And just because you need help doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. We all need help. We're humans, we're interdependent beings. We need each other. Everyone has to ask for help. And so if you're at that place where you need to ask for help, then ask. It's okay. You know? Okay. Ego. Your ego this month, 6 of Wands. Yeah, don't chase the next breadcrumb. I told Pisces the opposite. Pisces, it was like, follow the breadcrumbs. Don't chase the next breadcrumb. Aries, this is not your time. I'm just laughing because, like, if you have, like, an Aries sun, Pisces moon, you're going to be like, what? Or something like that. Anyway, don't follow the breadcrumbs because this is not the time to stay busy. This is not the time to chase accomplishment after accomplishment or validation after validation. This is the time to get real, okay? And so, if there's action going on in your life still, like if work is busy, it looks like work's going well. Obviously stay connected to that, but don't throw your whole being into it if it's going to distract you from the real work, because then all of this is just going to keep getting pushed back and you're going to keep getting into a tangle. The universe is opening a lane for you this month to be in the void. And so even if you're busy on the surface, I think there's still going to be time for you to be in the void in some capacity, because the Wheel of Fortune is frozen. So I'm just feeling that maybe there's movement at work, or it's like you trying to create movement that isn't there. And so whatever movement is happening, don't throw your all into it. Just throw a little bit. And if you're just trying to make something happen that isn't happening, just pull back. Just be present, be in the void, accept that the Wheel of Fortune has frozen for you at this time, and take advantage of it, okay? And that's where the real victory is going to be. The victory is going to be in radical acceptance of the current moment and what it's trying to teach you, okay? Foundation this month, or not foundation, environment, Ace of Swords, new perspective. And this, okay, so this being in your environment now makes a lot of sense. There is somebody else in your corner that can offer you the perspective that you need, whether it's in the form of information, guidance, healing, or anything like that. And it's going to set you off on a new path in terms of the way that you view the world or the way that you view yourself. And that's good, because swords is manifestation energy too at the thought-based and speaking level. And so if there are just limiting beliefs that are getting in your way, or like a lack of discernment or clarity, the Ace of Swords is kind of sharpening that. You're kind of getting the discernment that you were lacking. You're getting the clarity you were lacking. And then you'll actually be able to start moving the wheel again, because you've made the mind shift that you needed to make in order for things to go forward again. So this is really just a big transformational incubation moment. It's not that you did anything wrong, it's that this is just the lesson you're on, you know? And so the important thing is to listen to the right people, which I know you're Aries, you're self-led, and that doesn't mean you're not self-led. I think being self-led really for me means, because for me, like communication is my whole thing, groups are my whole thing. So like the people around me that support me, the people that I support, my students, my teachers, you know, that's my world. And and that also came out of a childhood where I felt like I couldn't trust anybody. And now there's all these people that I trust. There's family members I didn't used to trust that I now trust fully and completely, you know? And so like there's been shift there, just relational dynamic shifting and people growing. But that had to come out of, you know, me healing myself from you know, the people that did let me down, and finding within myself my own authority, my own sense of discernment, my own clarity to be able to accurately assess who can I trust and who can't I, who do I need to listen to, and whose words don't matter, you know? And so this is a moment to ask yourself that. Who is in your corner? Who can offer the right advice? Who can set you on the right path? Who can you trust, and can you trust yourself to rely on who you can trust? And some people are trustworthy, so if the answer to that question is can't trust anyone, then that's coming out of a wounded place, and you need to look at that, okay? But if you have in your mind, as I say this, one or a few people that you go, yes, I can trust what they say, then you know where to go, yeah. Okay, hopes and fears. Beautiful. King of Pentacles, Three of Wands. Let's start with the King of Pentacles. You want abundance. You hope for abundance. You want to be in a place where you feel safe with what you have, and you continue to cultivate new opportunities, and you feel good, and you feel like you're the king of your castle. Maybe you want to be a leader, you know. Maybe you just want a fulfilling career. Maybe you want to not worry about finances, you know, all those things. It's paired with the Three of Wands, so what it's saying is, you know, it's coming. But there's a dual quality to that. Three of Wands, of course it's coming. And it could always just be coming. You know, like you can get into a state where you're like, it's the next thing. It's the next thing. It's gonna come next time. I'm gonna perpetually wait and keep saying to myself, it's gonna come. And then you're not taking action, or you're not taking the right action. And so then it's a perpetual state of it's coming, because it's true. It's like they're waiting for you. The universe always wants to give you everything. So it's kind of like this is always true. Like the ships are always waiting to come in, but they're not at the harbor yet. And yeah, so the trick here, the kind of dichotomy, if you will, is speaking from my like Libra North Node, is what are you doing to prepare? Because you can trust that those ships are going to come in, but can you trust yourself, or can you rely on yourself to prepare for them so that they do? Because if the lighthouse light is never on, you know, if the space hasn't been prepared, those ships are just going to keep waiting out there, and you're going to keep telling yourself, they're coming, I can see them. And you're right, and, you know, they're never going to arrive if you don't prepare the space. And so the void, feminine, preparing the home, right? Preparing the womb, preparing the space for the ships to come in so that they can come in. So yes, they're coming. Yes, you got to do the work. Both are true, okay? Outcome this month, we have the Hermit. Beautiful way to end. So I feel the light coming on, right? The lighthouse light, but it's coming on right at the end of the month. Just due to the nature of this cycle and your healing. And of course, there's going to be variance according to you, depending on you. But looks like right at the end of the month, the light's going to come on, but the light just came on, okay? So it doesn't mean the ships come in right away. It doesn't mean you have it all figured out. I feel like there is a particular sense of being alone here without being lonely that is brand spanking new. I have not felt it from you in the last several months. So, if at all. So, it feels like there's a recommitment to yourself, to your soul journey, to your heart, kind of diverting attention from whatever lanes are distractions to you. And I think kind of an acceptance, coming into an acceptance at the end of the month that you were at a point where you need to get right with yourself, because I don't think that you are right now. And that happens. You know, you can be right with yourself one month and not right the next month. It's a spiral. It's a journey, and new things surface all the time. That's how we evolve and change. It's always going to be that way as long as you're alive. You know, you in death, be in the bliss, be in the absolute, absolutely, but you're here, you're alive. So, it's work, it's school, it's the journey, and you chose it. So, take advantage of the rest. Take advantage of the Wheel of Fortune freeze. It's a great opportunity for you to heal. If you take advantage of that healing, you're going to come to a space where you can be alone without being lonely. You can rely on your innermost self in a completely new way. It's going to make you feel more grounded, more discerning, more inspired. And it's going to give you, you know, a directional energy to your life, you know, so that you're going down one path instead of kind of spiraling around or scattering yourself, which is Aries energy. Aries energy by nature, when it's balanced, is just like boom, right? And so I understand that the freeze is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's necessary so that you can come out of this as a consolidated, integrated Aries that can hold space for, you know, this stuff, the stuff that makes you freeze, the stuff that makes you stop in your tracks. You know, this is a big kind of facing your fear moment, because I think Aries by nature fears that stopping at stopping. And this stopping is being presented as an opportunity to get past that fear. And then how do you think you'll feel when you're past that fear? How do you think that will affect the way that you move through life after that? I mean, it just feels like an enormous opportunity for growth and change and evolution. And the hermit is self-realization. So you discover something about yourself at the end of the month. Looks like the healing happens, the illumination happens, the clarity that you want happens, big or small. But it's because I don't want to maximize. I really take issue with readers that are kind of like, oh, it's all happening. Because it's not that it's not. And when you're, tuning into those frequencies, because spirit doesn't experience time the same way, to spirit it's always the absolute, because that frequency you're tapping into is always there. There's these infinite planes of realities, and they're perpetual. So when you're tapping into that absolute, when you're tapping into the oneness, when you're tapping into the inspiration, it feels like, oh, it's going to be this way forever. And I feel like sometimes readers kind of put that into their readings, not because they're reading inaccurately, but because they're not interpreting accurately in terms of like being in this physical material reality. But so I really want to emphasize it's a spiral, and you close out chapters and lessons where you go, yes, I understand, I'm at the peak again, you have that perfect clarity, you're on the mountaintop, you're overlooking, there's clear skies, and it's real. And you're gonna come down the mountain again, because you're human, and there's another lesson to learn. And so remember, it comes in waves. These things come in waves. There's no absolutes. On this plane of reality, there's only cultivation and moving with the natural cycles of nature that we have on this planet. It's a beautiful thing, this planet, right? So enjoy your self-realization moment, enjoy your enlightenment, and understand that you're human, and that enlightenment is a journey, not a permanent state of being. Was that Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, even after he reached his attainment, after his Bodhi moment, he still continued to practice and meditate, because he knew he was human, and that if he stopped his practice, that the enlightenment would be veiled again. Because the enlightenment's always there. That's always true. But it can be veiled. Kind of like the way the sun's always there, but on cloudy days you can't see it. It's the same thing, and there's always going to be those cloudy days, and it's the practice. Whatever your practice is, it doesn't have to be, Buddhist meditation, but whatever your practice is, it's your core. And if you don't have one, find it. If you have it, use it, and stay humble. You're human. It's the journey. We're all here together, right? I think that's all I have for you. If you want to schedule something with me privately, you can do so in the box below. I have my link. Hit like if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see the next Aries video, and I will see you guys in May, which sounds kind of crazy to say, but here we are. And happy birthday. Yeah, happy birthday. All right.